Hi guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while, but I think it's been over a month. I haven't made any videos. I was supposed to work on this, just couldn't find the parts close by. So I'm gonna have to hunt for stuff. And I've been working on some other stuff, like the workshop needs to be prepped for the monsoon, so just getting ready for that. I know it's a bit early, but it's better to be ready earlier. But today I'm talking about something a bit different, something I picked up for myself. It's this. It's called a Jayem Neo. It's basically a Tata Nano that was taken. They've basically probably got it as a shell with the bare basics, no fuel lines, no engine, no tank, and they've put in a battery, they've put in a motor, and they've reused a lot of Tata stuff. So you see a lot of ingenuity with stuff like the shifter and other stuff like that. But it's a lovely little electric car. This was actually made for Ola. So they initially thought they'd make this for Ola and other similar fleet taxis, right? So they thought they'd do that, but it basically happened out around 2019. This car here is a 2019 model. So I think that's when they stopped it. Also because of BS regulations, they couldn't continue. The car doesn't have airbags. It doesn't have ABS. So because it doesn't have disc brakes, that's going to be a problem. They can't put in ABS into this. And also it's really difficult for them to get this to comply to the current safety standards. So they kind of stopped the Nano. That's quite sad, but it's a beautiful machine. This is my first time driving a Nano, my first time actually driving an electric car, and I'm quite impressed. So back to what this is all about. They took this, they developed it. Sadly, it couldn't work out because these cars ended up getting done in 2019, which means that in a couple of months we had a lockdown, we had stuff like that, and they were unable to properly use these machines. Some companies just didn't work out. The other companies, unlike Ola managed to survive, but the other ones, they went basically bankrupt, and those cars didn't work out. Basically they had to sell it off. But this one here is one of those other cars from Ola where they have about, let's say, 500 kilometers to 1,000 to 2,000 tops, because there are other people trying to get this ready for you as is. They'll run it around. It needs a bit of a run in to make sure everything's fine. They do all that for you, and the car's a great package for me. I'm really happy. I'm not saying it because I bought it, but I'm quite impressed. So the first day, basically what happened was, let's get into it. So basically, one second, here are the keys, normal keys. It's basically just starts up like this. Yep, so that little sound that you hear whenever I press the brake is, it doesn't make a sound when you pull it, so it's a little weird. I guess it doesn't have a spring to pop it up or something like that. Let's check it out. Okay, anyways, so what you've got, one second, over here, what you've got is you've got a vacuum pump. Because the brake booster doesn't have an engine to get vacuum pressure from, they've put in a pump. So that odd little noise whenever you press the brake is just this pump engaging and generating vacuum. You've got a normal charging port over here that directly goes to a 220 volt socket. So this is basically what the Reva's used. And over here you've got the fast charger. This works on 750 volts DC. So this, I think you'll have to figure this out. This is a bit different. And that's it. You got the spare tire over here. You've got the AC condenser over here. You've got the auxiliary battery for the things like lights, maybe a stereo if you want to put one in, the wipers, stuff like that. And it's quite cool. So it's going to be a little bit of a it's already done. So it's going to be a little bit of a weirder video, because I don't know about nanos at all. This is my first experience. I had friends who said it's one of the best little cars you could buy, because basically it's one of the best little cars you could buy. It does everything. It seats 5 perfectly. I've been driving this car around for I would say 3 days. I got it 4 days ago, and the first day it was quite sluggish. That's what I wanted to get to, because I think you need to balance the batteries. The transport guys, they left the car on, the batteries went a little whack, but now it works really well. The second day I did a full charge and it was great. I did 125 kilometers on one charge, used about 95% of the battery. I got um, I got through maybe 4 or 5 hills, maybe 6 7. One sec. Yeah, I did about 8 hills, which is quite a difficulty in Goa. It's not like a place in Bangalore where they're just plains. I had the AC on, I had it in a sport mode. So this has a sport mode over here. You basically shift it to the back and you shift it this way. These buttons don't do anything anymore, but you get to sport mode. So I've noticed that the resistance when you let go of the gas is less when you put it into sport mode. When you have it in the normal mode for the electric, it just you let go of the gas, it slows down a bit, slows down slowly, and you've got a reverse. So it's not like one of these conversions where the reverse is basically your gear shifter. This is happening with current, so they're reversing the polarity. But what I've noticed is we don't have enough space for this. 1 second. Wait for the dog to go away. Put in reverse. What you may notice is it's quite quick. So I guess what's happened is they've detuned the motors. They've detuned it for range. It actually has a lot more torque than it shows. The torque is limited. The top speed is limited to about 85 kilometers. I've got it up to 75. I've heard others getting it at 85 kilometers per hour. And in places like Bangalore, where things are flat, they're getting about 150 kilometers. So that's quite a lot of range. That's not too bad. I've put it through a bit of abuse. I've put in 5 people. It still goes up a slope at a reasonable 40 kilometers per hour. And yeah, it works lovely. So back to what this car is like. It's very bare basic. It's like driving an Omni, to be honest. An Omni hatchback. What I don't like though, I mean, I've got to tell you guys this stuff too, what I didn't like about the car, because there are little odd bits that I'm not used to. For example, you press this and you try to open the door, this doesn't pop back up. So that's a minor thing. There are a lot of little minor things that are irritating. Like for example, 1 second, let me get down here. The brake pedal is higher than the accelerator. So this is like a minor problem. But when you're going from one to the other, you can't just move your leg like this. I actually lift my leg off because that's, I guess, how I drive, and I don't drive automatics too often. But yeah, the accelerator pedal is a little lower, so that's a bit irritating. Also, for extremely tall people, I think because the batteries are under the seat, you can't move the seats completely back. They do move quite far back, but see, yeah, this is all I get. For extremely tall people, it might not be the best. We've got the speakers inside. The speakers are still there. We've got 1, 2. We've got the speakers in the back too, which is really nice, but no player. A lot of the electrical parts, like I guess this would have had power locking, because that door doesn't have a key barrel. So I'm guessing this would have been one of those they probably customized what they wanted on it, but it's very basic. There are no power windows, there are no power locks, there are no fog lights, a lot of other bits. Yeah, he wants a round. That's sad. He badly does. Do you want to go? No one has been allowed in it yet, because what happens is basically every friend I know that sees the car doesn't mind taking it for a round to know what all the fuss is about. This initially started off as like a 9 lakh car. To build this back in 2019, I believe it cost them around 9 lakhs to sell this. That's what Ola was charged. Something around 9, to be honest. I'm not too sure. But that's a lot of money back in 2019. And you would have your doubts. You would be skeptical about electric cars. But today, at half the price of what that was back then, this is a great deal. I'm happy. I find it to be a steal. But there are some things that could be lacking. Like if this was, maybe if the battery was a bit larger and maybe even, 25%, even 50% larger, you could get a little further. Also, if the sport mode was a bit more aggressive, because you don't want to get, I don't like to get overtaken and just be sitting there on the highway, right? That's a problem. So I don't like that, but it's actually complying to the speed rules, it's limited. So this car used to be a taxi. I'm guessing that's why it's limited. But hopefully at some point we can get this reprogrammed and it could be faster. It could go faster. It could get more torque. Maybe I can upgrade the batteries. That's why I bought this. Initially, I thought, I'd buy. Yeah, we got a lot of curious people about the car. Initially, I bought this because I wanted to honestly take it apart. I thought, okay, at that price, these components couldn't get any cheaper. To buy these electrical components to do a conversion is quite expensive. So I thought, okay, I'd buy this and I'd shove it into maybe an NE118 or maybe an SS80. An SS80 would be beautiful for this. Even one of those fiberglass dolphins, that would be really cool. So I thought that would be a great thing, but now that I'm driving it, I really enjoy it too much to take it apart. I think it's a great car as is. But if I get another one, or if maybe I find a crashed one or something like that, I wouldn't mind taking out all the components because it works out cheaper than just buying them off the shelf. I'm sure they cost a lot of money. The batteries might cost maybe 3 lakhs or something. I have no idea. But yeah, that's another concern with this that a lot of people have is about the batteries, about the components, and you know, I have taken a lot of risk buying this. I would say I took a lot of risk because I didn't even see the car, I didn't drive it. But after driving it, I'm convinced that it's a great car. I don't want to oversell it. It's not perfect. It's genuinely not perfect. It is considered a new car, a used car to me, because it has been sitting around, and a used EV is uncharted territory, to be honest, for most of us. Because what happens is, let's say the batteries, nothing has warranty at the moment, but you do have service. Because the controllers, the battery management, all that stuff is made by companies like Orion that make forklifts. So they've been in the business for, like, I don't know, maybe more than 50 years. Those are really good components. They're manufactured in China, and they used to be manufactured in the US. The other thing is, some of the components are made by Tata's division, which makes electric vehicles for fleets. Then we have the batteries. I still have to research more about this. I have to check out the batteries, but I'm sure you can replace the batteries. There's cells, there are things like that. You can just that we'll figure out as we go. This is all localized. It's all good stuff. So I'm happy with it, but I can understand being a little skeptical. I was quite skeptical about this. Apart from that, it's got a Kirloskar-based motor for driving this. It's got a 3-phase induction motor, and that does I think that's about 14 kilowatts, if I am not wrong. The batteries are 17.7 kilowatts. So that's not too bad. Considering this car could do, it's kind of running at half capacity from what I understand. It's not at 100 capacity, because if it was at 100 capacity, it would drain out quite quickly in an hour. So it should do, yeah. Basically, this is toned down. Everything's quite good. It's safer. It's on the safer side. I guess that's what they do with electrics, right? Or any car. So it's yeah. Anyways, that's another point. But yeah, quite a quirky car. It's I like this update. A lot of friends have really enjoyed driving it because it's got a lot of initial torque. We'll take it for a drive now. Not a lot, but it's impressive for a cheap EV, a city runabout. It's not something that you drive from one major city to the next. I don't think it's a great idea. You could do it if they're within that range of yours, but I find this a great grocery getter, a great car for maybe a business that has something like errands to run. Their guys have to maybe distribute something within the city. This is a great car for that. This is great for a second car where you go get your supplies and things like that from the closest city. It's especially good for a place like Goa, where you have villages and you have cities where you get your supplies. I think it could work in cities as well. Like, oh man, I think my dog's crazy. Okay, sorry, back to this. I easily get distracted. So yeah, the AC is quite good. This mode, I think, controls it between, so it regulates the compressor. This one doesn't regulate it as much. And when I'm driving it alone, I just shut these. This is really convenient. I love the build on this. It's so simple. It reminds me of my Omni. I've never had such a bare basic car, apart from the Omni. That was interesting, but yeah, I never had a Nano or an 800. So I really appreciate this. I appreciate it for what it is. It's so simple, and I appreciate how cheap the parts are. So let's say shock absorbers, they're about 800 bucks. Like what I pay on that is on that S10 is probably a lot more, 5-6 times more. So it's really easy to maintain a car like this. The Nano was a good base, and so yeah, I guess now we'll just take it for a round, see how it moves, and how it drives. It's not something like the new Tatas, which have a lot of torque and are very punchy. I would say they're really good for the price. They are a little expensive, to be honest, but really good value for money. They drive really well. I drove one for the first time after getting this, and it was really nice. I liked it. I'm kind of biased towards this. I don't think electric vehicles are eco-friendly at the moment because, first of all, where do you dispose of the batteries? Second of all, where do you source the battery, lithium ion and stuff like that from? It's not the best thing to do right now. And also, where is your electricity coming from? Most of us are not using solar panels. We're not using renewable energy. So what sense does that make? It's not for the environment. I think it's more of feeling like you're helping the environment, and also actually cost saving. I think it's a lot of cost saving because everyone's probably spending about 1/10 or 1/5 of what they used to on fuel, because fuel is quite expensive. And especially if you have something like this, which gives you about 8 to 10 kilometers per liter at times, and something like that probably gives no kilometers per liter. I think sometimes it's a good city runabout. You get your errands run and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the main reason for getting an EV. I think currently it's all about the cost saving. And also you're kind of paying for, if you're buying a new one, you're actually paying for this technology to be developed, if you think about it. If you keep promoting it, if people keep buying EVs, they'll keep improving. The technology will keep improving. They'll be able to probably figure out how to recycle, how to use better, to use less of lithium, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's not really something I'm crazy about. But I think that when you buy something like this and there are more of them around, there's more development happening and things will improve slowly. That's kind of why I got this. I thought, okay, I'd learn more about EVs. I want to pull one of these apart. I know it sounds stupid, and I'd probably pull apart every vehicle that comes here, but at some point. But I think that that's the reason why, like, I've gotten this. I've gotten this just to learn about it, to learn about the EVs, like how the components connect, how everything works, how you can play around with stuff. And I really want to do a swap on this. I want to put it in the NE, hopefully. Like, it's there, it's sitting around, it's waiting for spacers to widen the wheel track. But yeah, I'm just waiting to pull this thing apart, to be honest. So yeah, probably not this one because I'm really enjoying this car, but I'll probably get another one. So anyways, let's go for a drive and I'll tell you more about the car. So here we are back in the Nano. I decided to take it for a drive and show you a few of the features. We've got a sportier mode, so I've noticed that it works a lot nicer, especially if you're going up slopes. You'd want to put it in the sport mode. It drives a little better. And when you drive it in reverse, as I showed you guys earlier, it does have a lot more torque. So I'm guessing if this could be retuned, because it was made as a commercial vehicle, right? If it was made for a commercial vehicle, they want the range to be the priority. And basically these were just taxis, right? So it does have a little less torque, a little, just to extend its range. I think it could do much better, to be honest. It's probably running at 50%, the motors. So if you bump it up a bit more, I'm sure it'll run a lot nicer. 1 second, just get away from here, and yeah, I wanted to show you guys the hill climb feature. So that is something that's a bit interesting. Maybe we'll take it into this little village area. So yeah, it's nimble. It's very nimble. It's great for city driving. I was having a lot of fun yesterday. Yeah, it's good. So yeah, it's fun to drive around the villages and some places where you're still under that 50-kilometer range and you're still in traffic or something like that. You've got these, so it's quite quirky for me. I really enjoy these. Oops, that's a wrong turn. But maybe I could show you guys how the pickup is. I wonder if you can see the screen. So I'm going to put it in the normal drive mode. Press the gas. How's that? I don't think we'll even get up to 60 in this little stretch of road. Oh. Maybe. Okay. That's enough. So. Okay. Now if you put in reverse, it's got a lot of torque. Now we're going to put in that little sportier mode, see how it runs. Not too bad. Okay. Got a straight stretch. Let's see. Oops. Get it to 0 and let's go. Yeah, a little quicker. I hope that's noticeable. I'm surprised by the braking. I'm really surprised by the braking. It's not too bad, really not too shabby. So yeah, as I was saying, there is a bit of differences between the sport mode and the normal drive mode. If you let go of the gas, it just seems to coast. But if I put it into that normal drive mode, it does seem to stop a bit. Take it to this little slope over here. Decent gradient, nothing too bad. Okay, get it to 0. Let go of the brake. Yeah, it holds. It's got hill climb. So that's not too bad. Check out the slope. So that's why I'm really impressed with it. You know, I didn't expect this much from it because it's basically a cheap EV. And I've never driven an EV. I've never driven a Nano. Also impressed by the Nano, to be honest. It's sad that such a beautiful car went to waste. You know, it's like the modern Beetle. I know that might be wrong to say because it's probably never going to be appreciated as much because it's a different era. But you can really appreciate a car like this. You got to say, like, for example, these vents. I can push them anywhere. I can twist them around. And okay, sorry about that. I can twist them around. I can direct it to my face, to the passenger, to my nuts, anything, you know. I can just, it works really well. So now I'll show you guys a few of these features. Over here, you have the distance to empty. So that's an important feature. You don't really know exactly how much. I would say it's a little bit exaggerated for a place which is just plains and a flat area. You've got your state of charge. Mine only goes up to 98 at the moment. I heard it goes and touches 99. So as you charge it, balance the batteries and everything settles and calibrates, it works a little better. We've got our trip meter. So we've done 12 kilometers of village driving, quick, you know, not too bad driving. And we only went through, what, 10%? So it should do that 125 with this type of driving with the AC on. We've got another trip meter. This is how much I've had the car for. We've got, oh, it's done only 1,600 kilometers in its life. That's not too much. Only thing I can complain about is not knowing how to change the time. I'll have to figure that out. So yeah, I think next up we're gonna take the car, put it on the lift, and show you guys exactly what it looks like underneath, what the components are. We've got the batteries under the seat. There's no point taking off the seat to show that to you. You saw the front end, how to charge it. Now I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like underneath. Now that we've got the car on a lift, we can take a peek underneath. We've got this Kirloskar based 3-phase induction motor. It's got 3 main wires that go to something that looks like the controller. So I'm guessing the controller is in this area. We've got the AC compressor over here. That black thing over there is the AC compressor. It's got these lines that go to the front. It looks like they cut out the floor of the car around here. And this is where they've placed the batteries. Okay, let me just get to the front. AC lines go in front. Normal steering rack from the Tata. The rest of it is all Tata mechanicals. We've got the AC condenser over here. And in that corner over there, we have a 12-volt battery. If you take a peek under this cover, you've got this panel that would have given us access to the motor. We've got these 6 butterfly nuts. We'll open that up and I'll show you guys what's underneath. What I really like about this car is how practical it actually is. It's because of its height and how tall it is, 5 adults can easily fit in, and you can fold the seat flat. So there's plenty of space for whatever you need to carry. So if we take off the cover, we've got a few components that we can see over here. We have a fuse box. We have something that looks like an ECU, and it says Electra EV. That's a manufacturer. This also seems to say Electra EV. I can't take a peek under it because it has the markings on this side. It's the motor controller. Over here we have the connectors that would have gone to the battery underneath. These seem to go to, these go to the motor, these red ones, and these go to the battery. And the battery is all the way in front under the seats. They're over here. So the batteries are under the seats, and we've got this. One thing that's quite impressive is how well this car climbs slopes. So I've got it in gear and I've pressed the brake. Now I'm gonna let go of it. It's fine. Now I'm gonna press the accelerator. And you have to make sure it's in sport mode. It works much better when it's in sport mode, and it accelerates properly. I've gotten it up to 40 kilometers plus in this gear. So it's not too bad. So I've been using this Nano for about a week. It looks like it did about 500 kilometers. I've taken it for one drive, which was 125 kilometers in the first day that I had it, and it worked fine. It went into limp mode later on, after 15% it does go into a limp mode. It does go a little slower. It does struggle on slopes definitely, but it gets up them. I've been able to have I've had good experience with the hill hold feature. So all you got to do is put this in its sport mode when you're going up slopes. That's much better, and it works much better. I just keep it in sports mode all the time because I barely drive. I don't go that far, to be honest. So I just keep it in sports mode. And you don't use these buttons for sports mode. These are non-functional. These are probably carried over from the AMT Nano. So these buttons still remain, but all you got to do is do this. This doesn't do anything. This doesn't do anything. This is sports mode. When you put it in sports mode, it shows an S over here. I'm not sure if you can see that. And when you put it in normal mode, it shows a D. And when the car's out of charge, it shows L when you're in sports mode. You've got the reverse over here. You've got the neutral, and it's quite clean. It works well. I'm happy with the way it functions. When you let go of the brake when it's in gear and you're on a slope, it goes back a bit. I mean, you can't expect it to be perfect, but it has a hill hold, and I've been able to go up quite good gradients. So it's been going up slopes consistently. There's no problem. I don't have any issues there unless you really force it to fail. I mean, you could always force any car to not be able to do something. But if you're moving, if you're even crawling and you take it up, there's no problem. If you're at a standstill and the gradient isn't in extreme, it's fine. It works. It does the job. Otherwise, if it's not doing the job, you do have to get a head start, because some slopes are just those random ones that nobody drives on. It's actually maybe a private property or something like that. That's where things get extreme. Apart from that, I've loved the AC. The AC works fine. It's got this intermediate stage where it's partially on. I guess the compressor goes on and off. And if you close these two vents, it works well. It works really well. That's sufficient for one person. If you put it in this mode, it's working much better. So I never put it on 3. I sometimes just keep it on the first stage when I'm driving alone. And yeah, I love the car. I really enjoyed it. There are some quirks here and there that I don't like. Like I was talking about this. This is a little weird because you rest your arm there and it shuts. There are no cup holders. So if you have a coffee or something, you have nowhere to put it. But I heard you can just put what do you call, one of those decathlon holders somewhere, and that works great. I'd also like to put a player into this. It's very basic, but it has the speakers. I'm guessing there should be a connector behind this that's just ready to plug and play. So that should be done. And yeah, it's very basic. One of the things that I found weird was that there's no external port for the charger. So you have to either keep the bonnet open or you have to feed the wire through the fender. So that's fine. You can do it in a way where you can close the bonnet and the car's safe. But that's a bit tricky, you know. I guess it's see, you're thinking of repurposing everything in this car without cutting anything, without doing anything like that. This car was meant to be charged in a safe spot, and most of us have safe spots to charge our cars. Otherwise, you have to run it through the fender. It works all right. You can still close the bonnet. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's got a lot of space in the back. I've been using it quite rough. Haven't put I put the dogs into at a point, so that's good. And I've really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about the car, put it down in the comments and I will answer them. Thank you for watching and hope to see you guys in the next video.